An unsettling twilight falls over the now empty school building.
But in a deserted hallway, a man desperately pleads for his life. His frantic cries are silenced by a sudden and brutal impact.
A student stands emotionless as his target disintegrates before him.
A choked gasp escapes the guard as he witnesses the horror. Raw terror contorts the man's face as he begins to tremble. A terrified scream rips through the air as the guard flees. The student's cold expression remains unchanged by the slaughter.
He can only think that he's running from a complete monster.
But his escape is cut short by the student's monstrous lunge. A flash of blue light tears through his back in a brutal strike.
His body slams lifelessly against the unforgiving hallway floor. Desperately, the guard tries to crawl away from his approaching killer. The student stands over him, holding the strange glowing card.
A final, agonizing scream rips through the school's chilling silence. His pleas for mercy are met with brutal, repeated stomps. His blooded hand tightens around the mysterious glowing card. For the first time, a flicker of emotion appears on his face. The entire horrifying event was just footage from a VR game. A man named Kim Young-sang introduces the shocking footage to an audience.
He praises the game's surprising realism and its growing popularity.
But he reveals the game's true nature as a merciless murder game. 100,000 people are forced into this virtual deathmatch. He questions the completely inhumane and unethical premise of it all.
But elsewhere, viewers criticize the broadcast for being completely biased.
They argue he conveniently left out the massive prize for the winners.
This is Choi Hyungwoo, a game streamer watching with keen interest.
He's being hounded by debt collectors and an angry ex-girlfriend. His friend Jung Chaesu teases him about the constant messages.
But Chaesu spits out his drink when he hears they broke up.
Chaesu dismisses his breakup, focusing on the 30 billion won prize.
But Hyungwoo is completely confident he'll pass the screening. With the money, Hyungwoo plans to quit streaming forever. Hyungwoo just wants a simple life without any financial worries. But Chaesu calls him crazy for lacking any real ambition.
He slams his cup down, determined to win the game Merciless.
Just then, a notification confirms he's been accepted into the game. Chaesu also qualified, already dreaming of a life of luxury. Hyungwoo matches his friend's energy, ready to conquer the game.
Their celebration is cut short by a furious shout from outside.
An angry voice demands he open the door immediately.
It's his landlord, screaming about the overdue rent.
The landlord threatens to throw all his belongings out on the street. The shouting fades, and Chaesu looks at him with sudden seriousness. He declares that winning this game is now their only option.
Hyungwoo vows that he will win this game no matter what. He's desperate to change his miserable life with that prize money. The opening day of Merciless arrives at the Teominchian branch.
The lobby is packed with thousands of hopefuls, all vying for the prize. Among the sea of faces are Hyungwoo and Chaesu, ready to begin.
He's called to the front to begin the official registration process.
After a quick identity check, he's handed his official ID card. Chaesu joins him, holding up his own card with a grin. But their excitement turns to shock as they read the details.
His friend asks if he studied the strategy guide he recommended.
Hyungwoo questions the site's name, but Chaesu says it's fine.
With a smirk grin, Chaesu boasts he's mastered the game's strategy.
But Chaesu raises a critical point about their in-game appearances.
Hyungwoo suggests creating a secret code that only the two of them know. He decides on their old high school's name as the secret password.
Jae-hoon explains their password is a sign of their unbreakable bond.
But Hyungwoo cringes at his friend's overly cheesy declaration. Jae-hoon is already networking, convinced it's fate they're together.
Hyungwoo decides he should also start gathering some teammates.
But his attention is stolen by an imposing figure before him.
The mysterious man silently waits for the elevator to arrive.
Jae-hoon is stunned by the man's physique, hoping he's not an enemy. Hyungwoo can't help but glance back at the intimidating figure. A quick look at his ID reveals his name is Seo Inju. Curious about the man, he quickly searches for Seo Inju online. Despite his impressive physique, his fighting record is shockingly bad.
Hyungwoo immediately doubts whether the man would be a useful ally.
The elevator doors slide open, revealing a woman in a uniform. She introduces herself as Yu Youngmi, their guide for Arena 07. She turns and leads them down a long, futuristic hallway.
The sound of her heels echoes as she leads them deeper into the facility.
She activates a high-tech security panel with a simple touch. The door slides open, bathing them in an impossibly bright light.
Hyungwoo steps through the door, his eyes adjusting to the intense light.
But his calm expression instantly shatters into one of pure shock. Before them is a colossal chamber filled with thousands of login capsules. He's completely stunned by the sheer, insane scale of it all.
Yu Youngmi directs him to the specific capsule he'll be using.
She explains the life support and constant monitoring for emergencies. She announces that she's closing the capsule, preparing to lock him in.
The heavy door seals shut with a loud, final clang. Hyungwoo immediately feels claustrophobic in the cramped, dark space. A holographic screen flickers on, introducing the manager for Arena 07.
She asks if he's feeling uncomfortable, but he assures her he's fine.
The login screen appears, explaining he'll enter a light sleep state.
The system presents the final prompt, asking if he's ready to connect. He takes a deep breath, knowing this is his last chance to change his fate.
Without a moment's hesitation, he confirms his decision to connect. His last thought before logging in is an unbreakable vow to win. The manager Chen Haijung confirms his login with a pleasant smile.
But her seemingly kind smile twists into a deeply unsettling grin. His consciousness drifts through a digital void as the game begins to load. But another player is met with a furious threat the moment he logs in.
Hyungwoo jolts awake, completely disoriented and unsure how much time has passed.
He finds himself in a crowded classroom, completely bewildered. A cold sweat breaks out as he realizes the game has begun.
Forcing himself to stay calm, he begins to assess his surroundings.
His confusion turns to panic as he realizes he's wearing glowing handcuffs. He's not just handcuffed, he's chained to a complete stranger beside him. The game has started by shackling players together without any explanation.
Hyungwoo's eyes dart around the room, taking in the bizarre situation. He realizes the handcuffs are only linking male and female players together. However, he sees that not all the women in the room are handcuffed. A sudden tap on his shoulder pulls him from his panicked thoughts.
She explains that physical contact reveals a player's name and level.
He realizes the handcuffs are a severe restriction on their actions. He realizes with dawning horror that they'll be the first ones targeted.
He desperately tries to warn the woman he's handcuffed to, calling her JOR. His fears are confirmed as another player explains the brutal opening strategy. He explains that the handcuffed players will be the first ones hunted down.
The only way to survive the initial chaos is to escape the room quickly. Hyungwoo immediately leads JOR away, trying to escape the classroom.
But a sudden, sharp tug on the chain stops him cold. He whips around in confusion, calling out JOR's name. A heavy breath reveals the massive player blocking their path.
The massive player grabs Jor, taunting her as she struggles to break free. He's amazed by the hyper-realism, using it as an excuse to grope her.
With a twisted grin, he dismisses her panic, saying none of this is real. Jor retaliates by viciously stomping on the man's foot. The sudden attack sends a jolt of pain through the massive player. He roars in agony and rage, cursing her for fighting back.
This is exactly the kind of chaos he wanted to avoid. The massive player's face twists with pure, unrestrained fury. He realizes he stands no chance against the man's brute strength. The enraged player grabs Hyungwoo's collar, threatening to end his life. But Hyungwoo calmly grabs the man's hands, shocking him with his defiance. He calmly speaks the man's name, leaving Lim Keeson completely bewildered. Hyungwoo whispers that this is being broadcast live to the entire world. He asks if Lim Keeson can handle the consequences of his actions. The threat works perfectly, and Lim Keeson immediately backs down in fear. With the immediate threat neutralized, he quickly leads Jor away. He knows he only bluffed his way out of that dangerous encounter.
But he's frustrated by the complete lack of rules or a tutorial.
A sudden chime echoes through the school, breaking the tense silence.
A system-wide announcement finally welcomes them and prepares to reveal the rules. It reveals they are in Arena 7, where 5,000 players will fight until only 50
The system
remain.
explains killing players grants EXP, with bases and weapons giving advantages.
The only way to quit is a 5-second button press, with death being the only other
But the
escape.
next announcement introduces a confusing new game mechanic called owners. The system designates the handcuffed male and female pairs as owners. Each owner will receive a random item they can't use until the main round. The preliminaries will whittle down the players to just 1,000 survivors. The system explains that only owners can use their unique abilities to form a party.
Owners who advance also possess useful items, increasing a party's chance of victory.
All survivors will wear bracelets, yellow for owners and red for non-owners.
A final ominous warning flashes, leaving their survival entirely in their own hands. The system declares the explanations are over and the game is about to begin. With a final explosive announcement, the Merciless deathmatch officially begins.
Jor's fear turns to excitement, seeing their owner status as a huge benefit.
But she notices Hyungwoo's grim expression and nervously asks what's wrong.
Hyungwoo's mind races, realizing the rules have a hidden, deadly implication.
He explains that the rules have painted a massive target on their backs. His warning comes too late as a group of men blocks their path. Other owner pairs completely miss the danger, trying to recruit allies. One player excitedly asks his partner what item they received.
But his partner's grip suddenly tightens around his face. A blade is pressed against his throat in a shocking act of betrayal. The blade tears through his neck as his partner betrays him instantly.
But her cold expression shatters into one of absolute horror. Chained to his corpse, she screams in terror as he hits the floor.
A system notification confirms Kim Deokbi has gained experience from the kill.
His face twists into a sadistic grin as he levels up to level 2.
The entire classroom erupts into a bloody massacre of the handcuffed players. He and Jor can only watch in horror as the slaughter begins. Without a second thought, Hyungwoo pulls her and sprints for the exit. He knows their first priority is to find a place to hide immediately.
But a hooded figure suddenly slams a fist into his face. The force of the blow sends both him and Jor crashing to the floor.
He realizes with dread that the owner hunt has already started. Hyungwoo stares up in shock at the man who just attacked him. His eyes widen as he notices the man's red bracelet and dirty fist.
The man slowly clenches his fist, which is covered in dried blood. He's shocked to see it's Seo Inju, who's already reached level 3.
The setting sun casts a bloody orange light over the entire school. The entire building echoes with the desperate screams of dying players.
His blood-soaked fist tightens, a clear sign of his murderous intent.
He looms over them, seeing their names and pathetic level 1 status. A single word escapes his lips as he identifies them as his next targets.
A cold dread washes over him as he realizes how bad this is. He questions if he should even try to fight a level 3 player.
Desperately, he tries to remind Choi Hyungwoo that they met earlier.
But his hand finds a sharp piece of metal on the classroom floor.
He grips it tightly, preparing to use it as a makeshift weapon. Choi Hyungwoo just stares down at him, completely unfazed by the threat.
He explains how advantageous it is to team up with an owner.
Hyungwoo extends a desperate offer to form a party together.
But Choi Hyungwoo questions his motives, seeing them as desperate shields.
But Choi Hyungwoo is surprised by Hyungwoo's complete lack of fear. Hyungwoo agrees that trusting anyone in this game is impossible. He understands why hunting owners is the most logical first move. He appeals to Choi Hyungwoo's ambition, asking if he truly wants to win.
Hyungwoo insists that owners and their items are the key to ultimate victory.
He admits their actions are severely limited by the handcuffs they wear. He sends the party invitation, stating they need Choi Hyungwoo's strength.
The system prompt appears as Hyungwoo urges him to join them.
Choi Hyungwoo stares at the prompt, his decision hanging in the balance. Choi Hyungwoo hesitates, weighing the risks of this unexpected alliance.
But his decision is interrupted by a sudden, intense gaze from nearby. Another group of players spots them, their faces twisting into greedy smiles.
Hyungwoo realizes his time to negotiate has just run out. He shouts for Jor to get back, ready to defend her.
Ignoring her warning, he prepares to face the oncoming rush.
The leader of the new group lunges forward, screaming for their deaths.
But at the last possible second, Choi Hyungwoo accepts the party invitation. His hand clamps over the attacker's face, stopping them in cold.
With terrifying force, Choi Hyungwoo smashes the man's head into the wall.
The attacker's skull cracks against the concrete in a sickening crunch. Ignoring the other's shouts, he unleashes a powerful kick on the next man. The final attacker screams for his death, but Choi Hyungwoo catches his fist easily.
With a sickening crack, he twists the man's arm completely out of its socket.
A final, brutal kick sends the last attacker flying, ending the fight instantly.
The man screams in agony as blood erupts from his mouth. With the kills confirmed, Choi Hyungwoo instantly levels up to level 5.
Hyungwoo is utterly stunned by his new ally's overwhelming power.
Hyungwoo and Jor are left completely speechless by the brutal display.
With his bloody fist clenched, he confirms he will join their party.
But Hyungwoo's grip on his makeshift weapon only tightens in response. But instead of accepting the alliance, Hyungwoo lunges forward to attack. The metal shard tears into Choi Hyungwoo's neck, who stares in disbelief.
A gruesome spray of blood erupts from the shocking betrayal.
Jor watches in horror as Hyungwoo betrays their powerful new ally.
Jahoon arrives just in time to see Hyungwoo standing over the dying man. He chokes on blood and blue light as his life is brutally extinguished.
But Choi Hyungwoo stands up unharmed, sarcastically thanking Hyungwoo for the attack.
They stand in the blood-orange light, staring down at the real victim's body. Hyungwoo's hand tightens around the blooded shard he used in his gamble.
He's completely overwhelmed by the sensory overload of the kill. The blood-soaked shard clatters uselessly to the floor.
His hands tremble as he realizes it felt like taking real life. The pain in his hand is shockingly, terrifyingly real.
He's stunned as a notification confirms he's now level 3. Jor is just as shocked to see she's also reached level 2. He realizes that experience must be shared between owners or party members. This explains why Choi Hyungwoo was so hesitant to join their party.
But his thoughts are cut short when he spots a card on the floor. He explains he's tearing his shirt to create a proper handle for the shard. But a sudden system notification stops him before he can act. It warns him that his clothing will be permanently destroyed if he continues.
He realizes now why beta testers fought barehanded to avoid destroying their gear. SEO Inju takes charge, declaring they need to leave the school now.
He explains that hesitation will make them targets for the other desperate survivors.
Jae agrees, and the newly formed party begins to move out. He spots a staircase at the end of the hall, their only escape route. Following his lead, they race down the empty school hallway. But their path is blocked as a classroom door is violently kicked in. The entire party freezes, shocked by the players who just appeared. Hyungwoo quickly makes a silent hand signal to SEO Inju. Without a moment's hesitation, SEO Inju hurls the men forward. The player's body slams violently against the distant hallway floor.
He looks up in terror as SEO Inju grabs him by the head.
But the blonde man just smirks, completely unimpressed by the display of force.
He levels up, admiring the incredible strength now flowing through his hands. But his smug expression vanishes as he notices something about Hyungwoo's party.
SEO Inju steps forward, ready to confront this new threat head-on.
But the entire party is on edge, sensing something is wrong.
The blonde man just laughs, seeing them as nothing more than his next victims. SEO Inju contemptuously drops the man he was holding to the floor.
He immediately squares up against the blonde man, taking a boxer's stance.
The blonde man is surprised as SEO Inju unleashes a professional jab.
But SEO Inju coldly rejects the man's taunts with a determined glare.
The level 8 player easily dodges the kick from the level 5 SEO Inju.
But a pained grunt escapes his lips as he suddenly staggers back in shock.
The blonde man roars in fury, shocked that the low-level player actually hurt him. SEO Inju realizes his attacks are landing despite the massive level difference.
He's forced to block a sudden and furious barrage of retaliatory punches.
The blonde man's face contorts as he begs for the attack to stop.
But SEO Inju's eyes burn with cold resolve as he presses his advantage. Another crushing blow sends a shockwave of impact through the man's skull. A final, devastating punch smashes the man's face directly into the floor.
The sheer force of the blow sends his body flying out the window. He lets out a breath of relief as a notification confirms he's now level 7.
They can only stare in stunned silence at the body far below them.
Nearby, Jae-hoon and his partner watch the brutal scene unfold in horror. But SEO Inju is completely unfazed, ready to continue moving forward. His victory is cut short as another group of hunters appears. With greedy smiles, they call the party their lucky experience bonuses. He lets out a tired breath, frustrated by these relentless players.
But SEO Inju's patience has finally snapped from the endless fighting.
With a furious roar, he charges headfirst into the new group of hunters.
But elsewhere, the events of the arena are being closely monitored.
Chen Haijung and another staff member watch the chaos unfold on the monitors. The staffer reports that nearly half of the players have already been eliminated. Chen Haijung confirms only 15 owner pairs remain, with most already dead.
Deputy Chief Shin Mi-ae is surprised by the intense slaughter in her arena.
She reviews the data before asking about the current viewer ratings.
Despite the soaring ratings, she demands even more shocking and brutal scenes.
But the staffer reports a player whose level is already causing a major stir.
Her eyes widen in disbelief as she's told the player's shocking level.
She stares at the data in disbelief, identifying the player as Jung Chaesu.
She immediately orders all cameras to focus on this one mysterious player. As the sun sets, the school building is bathed in an ominous red light.
As they descend the stairs, Hyungwoo praises SEO Inju for his incredible fighting skills.
But Hyungwoo suddenly holds up a hand, stopping SEO Inju in his tracks.
SEO Inju looks back in confusion, wondering why they've suddenly stopped.
But he quickly realizes something is wrong, sensing a strange presence nearby.
The landing is eerily silent, littered with the bodies of dead players.
Their corpses are horribly mangled, with limbs torn clean from their bodies.
Hyungwoo tries to reassure JOR, confident in SCU Inji's fighting prowess.
He tries to convince himself that SCU Inji's level 8 strength is enough.
But as he suggests they hide, a menacing figure with red eyes appears.
His blood runs cold as he calls out to SCU Inju in sheer terror.
SCU Inji's expression hardens, his eyes glinting with cold resolve.
He unleashes a powerful punch, determined to protect his new party.
A devastating blow lands, sending a shockwave of force through the enemy. SCU Inju is certain his perfect punch has ended the fight.
But his confidence shatters as his fist is caught with ease.
The man's name is revealed to be the infamous Jung Chaesu.
Hyungwoo's blood runs cold as he sees the man is an impossible level 17. With a single hand, Jung Chaesu completely overpowers the level 8 fighter. Ignoring SEO Inju, he yanks another terrified player out from hiding. He is completely helpless against the man's overwhelming power. With a single, effortless motion, Jung Chaesu hurls the man away.
SEO Inju is also slammed into the ground with terrifying force. The two men are slammed into the ground with bone-shattering force. Hyungwoo and JOR can only watch in absolute, paralyzing terror. SEO Inju trembles with rage, completely helpless on the floor. He sees the red bracelet on a player whose head was torn off. This entire floor was wiped out by a single monstrous player.
Hyungwoo forces himself to stay calm despite the overwhelming fear.
He realizes Jung Chaesu's movements aren't those of a trained fighter. Hyungwoo decides to test the monster's reach by moving side to side. But the monster's speed is inhuman, closing the gap in a terrifying lunge.
Before he can even react, Jung Chaesu's hand is wrapped around his throat.
Hyungwoo struggles for air, his face contorting in pain and rage.
But his desperate punches have no effect on the laughing monster. He claws desperately at the monster's hand, fighting for every last breath.
With a sadistic grin, Jung Chaesu slams him into the floor with terrifying force. His head cracks against the ground, the world around him turning white from the pain.
His body goes completely limp as his consciousness is shattered.
He collapses to the floor, another body in the blood-soaked hallway. JOR is left alone, chained to her partner and facing a monster. A sadistic grin spreads across Jung Chaesu's face as he savors the slaughter. JOR desperately tries to put Hyungwoo to his feet, begging him to run. But Hyungwoo refuses, knowing that running away is no longer an option. He struggles to his feet, his mind racing to find a way to buy time. He bravely shields JOR, shouting that they are armed and ready to fight.
But his desperate threat is met with a sadistic smile as the monster advances.
The monster's face contorts into a sadistic grin, daring them to attack. Hyungwoo panics, realizing his bluff has completely failed to intimidate the monster.
But at that moment, a mysterious figure suddenly rushes past them.
The mysterious figure locks Jung Chaesu in a powerful chokehold from behind. The monster chokes and gags, his face contorting with rage and effort.
A powerful aura erupts from his feet as he tries to break the hold.
The monster's face twists in agony as he struggles against the chokehold. The mysterious man screams at them to run while he holds the monster back. Saliva droops from his mouth as the monster is slowly being overpowered. The monster's face twists into a furious grin as he fights back. Nearby, Hyungwoo's hand trembles uncontrollably from the sheer terror.
He desperately reminds himself that none of this is actually real.
With a forced, twisted grin, he tells himself to move because it's only a game. But the mysterious man grunts in pain as the monster begins to overpower his hold. The monster retaliates with a vicious headbutt, shattering the man's hold instantly. The mysterious man is sent flying, his body slamming hard against the floor. He collapses to the ground, coughing and gagging from the brutal blow.
But Jung Chaesu just smirks, completely unfazed by the failed attack. He tells himself that to survive this game, he must act like a bastard. With a desperate roar, he lunges forward to strike the monster down. His makeshift weapon plunges into the monster with a flash of blue light. A pained roar erupts from the monster as the attack lands. The force of the blow sends him crashing into the nearby wall. With a moment's reprieve, Jor checks on the injured Seo Inju.
Seo Inju urges them to take this chance and escape immediately.
But Hyungwoo insists they must finish him, though Seo Inju disagrees.
He warns that the level difference is too great for them to win now.
He believes the pain from his attack will buy them a precious few seconds. But their hope shatters as Jung Chaesu rises, laughing like a madman. His face twists with pure rage as he vows to kill Hyungwoo first.
Jung Chaesu stumbles away, vowing to personally end Hyungwoo's life.
But his retreat is noticed by another group of players on the floor below. They're shocked by his blood-soaked state and decide not to provoke him.
Seo Inju asks who the new players are, still reeling from the fight. But Hyungwoo's eyes glint with a sudden, dangerous idea. Jung Chaesu orders the new group to block them, calling them idiots for grouping up.
Hyungwoo tells them to use the new group as a distraction to escape.
But the new group scoffs, seeing the wounded monster as an easy target. One of the hunters charges forward, eager to claim the kill for himself. The hunter leaps down the stairs, aiming a powerful punch at the monster. But the rest of his group screams in fury, wanting the kill for themselves. An ominous red aura surrounds Jung Chaesu as he clenches his fist in rage. A sadistic grin spreads across his face as he welcomes the new challengers. Hyungwoo grabs his party, using the chaos as a chance to escape. He knows their only chance of survival is to get out of the school now.
They finally reach the exit doors at the end of the long hallway. With a final push, they burst through the doors and out of the school.
The three of them gasp for breath, exhausted but alive after their escape.
As the sun sets, they finally stand outside the school building.
But the screams from inside confirm the school is just the starting point. Seo Inju takes charge, telling them they need to leave immediately.
Night has fallen, casting a pale moonlight over the dark forest.
Seo Inju insists he's recovered enough to walk on his own now. But Hyungwoo points out they've reached a crossroads with no clear path. He points out the uphill path to their left leads to a hospital. Seo Inju notes the downhill path to the right leads to a convenience store. JOR suggests the hospital is the obvious choice for Seo Inju's injuries. But Hyungwoo rejects the obvious choice, knowing it's likely a trap. Seo Inju agrees that a fight is unavoidable no matter where they go. With their path decided, the party heads towards the convenience store.
Now that they're safe, a crucial thought finally occurs to Hyungwoo.
He admits the earlier chaos completely distracted him from a vital point.
He finally asks JOR what special item she received as an owner. She reveals her item is a mysterious black orb called a core.
JOR speculates its true purpose won't be revealed until the main round.
Hyungwoo then reveals his own item, an equally mysterious blue key.
He realizes both of their items are complete mysteries with no instructions.
He can't help but feel let down by their seemingly useless items. He's annoyed by the game's complete lack of guidance on their items.
But Seo Inju suddenly halts their advance, holding up a hand.
Ahead of them, a lone convenience store glows in the dead of night.
JOR confirms their location, but they approach with extreme caution.
But Seo Inju's expression hardens as he senses something is wrong.
The glass doors are smeared with dozens of black, desperate handprints. He realizes someone is already inside, despite the empty exterior. Hyungwoo warns her that the players inside might be trying to ambush them. Despite the obvious danger, Seo Inju reaches for the door to head inside. The glass does slide open, revealing the dark and silent store within. Seo Inju cautiously steps inside, leading the party into the dark store.
He immediately spots the signs of another player hiding behind the main counter.
Hyungwoo and Jeo are scan the empty shelves, their senses on high alert. Seo Inju carefully slides open the door to the back office.
He and Hyungwoo confirm the room appears to be completely empty. But a bead of sweat forms as Hyungwoo's eyes dart upwards.
He realizes the entire store has already been completely ransacked. The shelves are almost completely bare, stripped of anything useful.
But his eyes lock onto a single, solitary carton of milk left behind.
He wonders what kind of horrific scene must have taken place here.
The tense silence is broken by a loud grumble from Jaeor's stomach.
Jaeor admits with a sheepish smile that she's incredibly hungry. Hyungwoo admits he's also starving, having not eaten since the game began. Seo Inju decides they should leave, as the store has nothing for them. But their conversation is cut short by Jaeor's sudden, terrified scream. Jor nervously asks what that strange sound was, putting them all on edge. Seo Inju confirms someone is hiding and asks if they should deal with them. Hyungwoo gives a silent, determined nod, agreeing to the confrontation. He grabs the doorknob, preparing to force his way into the back room.
But he's surprised to find the door is completely locked from the inside.
Jor nervously suggests they leave, terrified of another monster like Jung Chaesu.
But Hyungwoo explains that a monster like Jung Chaesu is an exceptionally rare case.
Seo Inju insists they check the room, hoping to find something useful inside. As he approaches, a hand with a red bracelet suddenly slides through the mail slot. He moves to the warehouse door, deciding to force his way inside. He unleashes a devastating kick, shattering the locked door instantly.
He stands in the shattered doorway, his gaze fixed on the darkness within. Hyungwoo cautiously steps into the dark, ransacked warehouse. He scans the empty shelves, finding nothing but dust and shadows.
But the door suddenly slams shut behind them, trapping them inside. Hyungwoo whispers to Seo Inju that the ambushers are right outside. But the sound comes from inside as locker doors are pulled open. They stare in shock as they realize the players were hiding inside all along.
Hyungwoo gives a subtle nod, signaling for Seo Inju to attack. He begins a silent countdown, preparing to strike the first blow. With a powerful scream, he lunges toward the nearest ambusher. The ambusher is slammed into the shelves with incredible force. But they're shocked to see he's wearing a convenience store uniform.
Hyungwoo realizes this man might be an NPC, a non-player character. But Seo Inju corrects him, realizing the man is just another player.
The man casually admits that he's been caught hiding from them.
A deeply unsettling and sinister grin spreads across the man's face.
He declares that since he's been found, he has no choice but to fight.
Hyungwoo and Jae-woo are on high alert, sensing the man's hostile intent. Seo Inju immediately raises his fists, preparing for another brutal battle.
But his sinister grin vanishes as he suddenly shouts that he surrenders.
Seo Inju is completely baffled as the man complains about the unfair odds. With a disarming smile, he suggests they don't need to fight at all. He cheerfully suggests they can just talk things out instead of fighting. Hyungwoo is completely bewildered by this strange man's behavior. He weighs the pros and cons, wondering if this man is worth the risk. The man correctly identifies Hyungwoo as the party's owner. Hyungwoo wonders if the man is genuinely good-natured or just very charming. But the man's expression falters as a loud growl echoes in the room.
Jae-woo blushes with embarrassment as her stomach growls loudly again.
The man smiles, saying he understands her hunger because he has a daughter. He offers to share the food he saved, leaving Jae-woo visibly touched. The man points to a cabinet, claiming that's where he stored the food.
But Seo Inju warns him not to try and sneak out a hidden weapon.
He makes it clear he won't go easy on him just because he's an old man. The man insists he has no intention of fighting them, questioning their suspicion.
He explains he's heard about the horrors outside, trying to appear harmless. But Hyungwoo can't trust him, suspecting this is a trap to kill them later.
The man seems exasperated by their stubborn refusal to trust him.
He then turns to JOR, reaching slowly into his vest pocket.
Hyungwoo's eyes widen, suspecting he's pulling out a hidden weapon.
Seo Inju shouts at the man, ordering him not to move an inch.
He instantly moves to block the man's hand, stopping the sudden movement.
But the man's feet are already in motion, stepping forward with purpose.
The seemingly harmless man flicks Seo Inju with shocking speed and power. Hyungwoo screams out his ally's name in absolute disbelief and terror.
His body smashes into the ceiling light with a bone-shattering crack.
He lands with perfect balance, his harmless demeanor completely gone.
Before Hyungwoo can react, the man's hand clamps onto his collar.
He's slammed to the ground, completely overpowered by the man's hidden strength.
He claims he was just trying to offer candy and didn't want to fight.
His name is revealed as Park Yu-ah-soon, an impossibly high level 11.
He mockingly calls his brutal attack self-defense, asking if Hyungwoo understands.
He realizes with dawning confusion that the man didn't actually injure Seo Inju.
The man then offers a hand to Seo Inju, confusing them with an offer of peace. But Seo Inju stares at the offered hand with pure, undisguised suspicion. Furious, Seo Inju slaps away the offered hand, refusing any help. His expression hardens into one of pure, untrusting rage.
He confronts the man directly, demanding to know his true intentions.
Park Yu-ah-soon's expression is unreadable, his level 11 status now confirmed.
Hyungwoo and Jae-ro are stunned, realizing he's killed at least 10 players. Hyungwoo's mind races, questioning the true motive behind the man's strange goodwill.
Park Yu-ah-soon sighs in frustration, saying they're being too suspicious.
He reveals a lollipop, explaining he didn't want JOR to see a fight. He offers the candy, asking if they finally understand his harmless intentions. He asks them to calm Seo Inju down, leaving them utterly confused.
Hyungwoo can only laugh nervously, completely baffled by the man's kindness. JOR begins to wonder if this surprisingly sweet man isn't a threat after all.
He asks if they finally believe that he truly doesn't want to fight. With the tension lowered, he suggests they all formally introduce themselves. He introduces himself as Park Yu-ah-soon and casually asks for their names. Hyungwoo and Jae-ro cautiously introduce themselves to the mysterious older man.
But Seo Inju remains distant, his arms crossed in silent suspicion.
Hyungwoo finishes by introducing their powerful but untrusting third member.
Park Yu-ah-soon calmly observes the size of their three-person party.
He then asks them what their plans are for moving forward.
But Hyungwoo and Jae-ro can only respond with a stunned silence. Hyungwoo confidently states their plan is to find a base and weapons. He explains they learned about these advantages from the school broadcast.
He knows that to survive and grow stronger, they need those items.
He believes the broadcast information is their only reliable guide for now.
He quickly points out the store's glass walls, make it a terrible base. Park Yu-ah-soon listens to their plan, his expression thoughtful and unreadable. Park Yu-ah-soon suddenly announces his decision to join their party. The unexpected offer leaves both Hyungwoo and Jae-ro completely stunned. He reveals his formidable background as a national judo athlete.
He argues that having two powerful bodyguards would be a huge asset.
Hyungwoo considers the offer, realizing it's not a bad deal for them.
He imagines their potential synergy, with one as a tank and the other as a striker. Hyungwoo turns to JOR, who quickly agrees with the plan. With one member on board, he turns to the still skeptical Seo Inju. But Seo Inju remains silent, his expression unreadable and tense.
After a long silence, Seo Inju finally gives a reluctant agreement.
He slowly walks towards Park Yu-ah-soon, who watches him from the floor.
But instead of hostility, he extends a hand to seal the new alliance. Seo Inju asks him to speak casually, looking forward to their new partnership. Park Eui soon smiles warmly and clasps his hand, pleased with the new arrangement. A system notification appears, confirming Park Eui soon has officially joined their party. The full moon hangs in the sky, illuminating their path forward.
As they walk, Hyungwoo begins to lay down the rules for their new party.
He proposes that all information on other players must be shared immediately. Park Eui soon agrees, adding that the base is likely a specific building to capture. He stresses that even the smallest details could be crucial for their survival later on.
With a warm smile, Park Eui soon praises Hyungwoo for his sharp thinking, but Hyungwoo is immediately suspicious of the man's overly familiar tone.
He recalls secret information he saw in Architect and decides not to trust him yet. He'll only share his knowledge once he's certain the man is truly an ally. But Hyungwoo's feet suddenly freeze in place, stopping the entire party. The others turn back in confusion, wondering why he's suddenly stopped. His eyes widen as he spots something truly unbelievable in the distance.
He stares up in disbelief at a massive lighthouse in the middle of nowhere.
The party cautiously makes their way towards the strange, isolated structure. Seo Inju takes the lead, pushing open the heavy steel door to the base.
But his hand meets solid resistance as he tries to push it open.
The heavy door doesn't move an inch, sealed tight against his efforts. He realizes it's not locked, but was recently closed from the inside.
Hyungwoo pounds his fist against the door, demanding a response from within. He tries to negotiate, shouting that they aren't there to cause any trouble. But a voice from inside angrily tells them to leave, claiming the base is full. Park Eui soon realizes the base is occupied by a large group of players. He finds their constant chatter amusing as he casually limbers up. With a confident grin, he tells the others to step aside for a moment. He stomps his foot, signaling for Seo Inju to get ready for the attack.
With a determined shout, the two of them rush towards the steel door.
They unleash a perfectly synchronized and powerful kick against the heavy door.
The steel door flies off its hinges, slamming into a player inside. Park Eui soon cracks his knuckles, satisfied with their overwhelming power. The man inside stares in terror at the intruders who just broke in. Park Eui soon smugly asks if they regret not opening the door earlier.
But Hyungwoo's suspicion is confirmed as he sees the red owner's bracelet. Pinned beneath the door, the man stares up in absolute disbelief.
The lighthouse looms over them, a silent beacon in the dead of night.
His partner rushes to his side, asking if he's all right after the impact. More players emerge from the back, shocked by the sudden intrusion.
The party stands in the doorway, an intimidating and powerful sight.
Hyungwoo's eyes are sharp and calculating as he sizes up the new opponents. He quickly counts 5 players huddled together, looking utterly terrified. His intense gaze continues to scan the room for any more threats. He then spots 3 more players watching them from the stairs above.
He notes the large gathering is surprisingly without an owner in sight.
JR instinctively grabs his arm, sensing the dangerous shift in the air.
He calmly repeats that they have no intention of starting a fight.
But one of the men suddenly points towards their trapped companion.
He rallies the others, pointing out the 2 owners as their primary targets.
With a calm smile, Park Eui soon tells Seo Inju not to be too rough.
The man leads the charge, foolishly targeting Park Eui soon as the weakest link.
Park Eui soon is completely unimpressed by the man's foolish charge. The attacker screams for his death, throwing a wild punch. But his fist is caught effortlessly, the older man's patience finally snapping.
Using the man's momentum, Park Eui soon executes a perfect judo throw. The attacker is completely helpless as he's driven headfirst towards the floor.
His skull cracks against the steel floor with a sickening, final impact. A choked gasp escapes the man as his head hits the floor hard.
The players watching from the stairs are completely stunned by the display.
He mockingly asks why the man thought he was the easiest target. His gaze is cold and dismissive as he looks over the other players.
The remaining players on the ground floor recoil in absolute terror. But the group on the stairs above just scoffs at the pathetic display.
He scoffs at the others, calling them pathetic for not even trying to help.
But the man on the stairs just smirks, revealing the attacker was only level 3.
He coldly states that the man shouldn't blame him for a fight he started. The trapped owner tries to fight back, his face contorting in pain. But his wrist is caught in a powerful, unyielding grip.
The man looks up in confusion, asking why Choi Hyungwoo is stopping him. Choi Hyungwoo tells the man to stop, asking if he has a death wish.
He notes that the trapped player has clearly lost all will to fight back. Releasing him, he turns to the others with a chilling challenge for who's next.
The man on the stairs scoffs, daring the terrified players below to fight.
With a sinister grin, he warns them to be ready to die if they attack.
But the tense standoff is broken by a sudden shout to stop the fight. The man on the stairs calmly tells them to stop the fighting. Park Ewoo soon confronts him, questioning why he's interfering now. The man identifies Park Ewoo soon as the leader and threatens his life.
But the man's cold gaze dismisses him, focusing instead on Hyungwoo.
Hyungwoo and Jaewoo are completely confused by this sudden change in leadership.
He tries to de-escalate the situation, suggesting they can talk things out first.
The man on the stairs ignores Hyungwoo, telling Park Ewoo soon to watch his mouth. He then asks if Hyungwoo is their leader, to which Hyungwoo cautiously agrees. The man offers them a chance to look around, but demands they leave immediately after.
Hyungwoo is suspicious of the man's strange confidence, sensing a hidden trap.
Park Ewoo soon is enraged by the man's arrogant demand that they leave.
He decides talking is useless and prepares to wipe them all out instead. The man calmly tells Park Ewoo soon to relax and get some rest. He smiles condescendingly, revealing the owner he's been protecting all along. But Hyungwoo's eyes narrow, sensing this man is far more dangerous than he appears.
The man on the stairs gives a condescending smile and agrees to their terms. He offers them a place to rest for the night, a surprisingly generous offer. He frames it as a favor, claiming he understands how exhausted they must be.
Park Ewoo soon explodes with rage, questioning if the man is insane.
But the man just clenches his fist, telling him to think before he speaks.
With a tired sigh, the man on the stairs reluctantly agrees to their terms.
He offers them the top floor, claiming there's enough space for the 4 of them.
With a sly grin, he explains this will keep both parties safe and separated.
He justifies his decision by saying everyone is exhausted and needs to rest now. Hyungwoo realizes this arrangement makes the other group a perfect shield against danger.
With a confident smirk, he decides they should rest and prepare for what's next.
He agrees to the man's offer, and the party reluctantly accepts his decision. The full moon shines brightly, signaling the start of a tense and uncertain night.
The two parties separate, with Hyungwoo's group taking the upper floor as agreed. He issues a final warning, demanding they keep their promise until morning.
The man on the stairs reluctantly agrees, complaining about how noisy they are.
Meanwhile, Park Ewoo soon is already analyzing the strength of their opponents.
He deduces that the rest of them must be just as weak. Deciding he's had enough, Park Ewoo soon prepares to strike. With a flash of movement, he lunges toward the man on the stairs. But the leader intercepts him, shocked by his speed and demanding his level. But the leader's foot slams down, blocking the attack with blinding speed. Park Ewoo soon is forced back, his surprise evident at the man's reflexes. The leader mockingly compliments his quickness, feigning disappointment. The leader lets out a frustrated sigh, annoyed by their persistence.
But his expression twists into a sinister grin as he accepts the challenge.
The lighthouse stands silent, the stage set for a brutal confrontation.
A tense and fragile truce settles over the isolated lighthouse. Inside, the party rests on the winding stairs, keeping their distance. Jaewoo breaks the silence, calling out to Hyungwoo with a question. Park Ewoo soon dismisses the players below, calling them too timid to be a real threat.
But his expression hardens as he singles out their leader, sensing he's different.
She warns Hyungwoo to be careful, noting the leader moves like a trained fighter. He tells her she must be tired and encourages her to get some rest. She voices her fear that the other group will attack them in their sleep.
He sits beside her, admitting that a surprise attack is entirely possible. Hyungwoo reassures her, volunteering to stand guard for the night. But Choi insists on staying awake with him to keep watch. Park Ewoo soon relaxes, telling them to trust Hyungwoo's judgment.
Hyungwoo then turns to Seo Inju, urging him to get some rest.
He reassures Choi that he'll take the first watch for the night.
As the night deepens, a quiet yawn breaks the tense silence.
The deep night passes without any sign of an attack.
A new day finally dawns, bringing an end to their tense watch. But Hyungwoo snores echo as the entire party has fallen fast asleep.
Hyungwoo lets out a deep yawn, exhausted from his long and tense watch.
But his exhaustion is replaced by a look of deep and serious thought. He worries what he'd do if something happened to her before the cuffs came off.
His gaze shifts down, a dark and grim thought crossing his mind.
He glances at the glowing cuffs that bind him and Jae-ro together. If she died, he'd have to sever her wrist just to free himself. Jae-ro stirs from her sleep, asking Hyungwoo what time it is. He's startled by her voice, letting out a nervous laugh of relief. She asks if he's tired, offering to take over the watch for him. He quickly urges her to get more rest, trying to hide his dark thoughts. He scolds himself, wondering why he would even consider such a horrific act. Her simple concern now fills him with an unnecessary and heavy sense of guilt.
Hyungwoo stretches his neck, complaining that his body feels stiff from sitting. He suggests they go get some fresh air, and Jae-ro readily agrees. The two of them begin to walk up the winding lighthouse stairs together. They step out onto the lighthouse balcony, the morning air whipping around them. But Hyungwoo's attention is immediately drawn to something on the ground below. They spot two figures, recognizing the ponytail guy from the other group.
The two figures below are locked in a tight, emotional embrace. He points this out to Jae-ro, speculating they must be a couple. Hyungwoo says he had a feeling there was something going on between them.
He admits with a small smile that he's a little envious of them. Jae-ro then suddenly asks if he has a girlfriend, catching him off guard.
He clarifies that he used to have one, but they recently broke up.
She immediately apologizes for prying, but Hyungwoo tells her not to worry. He admits the breakup doesn't bother him, feeling he wasn't good enough for her. But Jae-ro retorts that his ex-girlfriend must have no eye for people at all.
She praises his sense of responsibility, unable to believe his ex left him.
She points out how he took the night watch alone to protect the party.
With a shy smile, she tells him he's cool and his ex must regret it now.
Hyungwoo is completely flustered by her sudden and sincere compliment.
But his attention is suddenly drawn to the horizon as he tells her to look. They're met with the breathtaking and impossible sight of the sunrise from space.
Hyungwoo tries to rationalize the impossible sight as just game data. But their moment is shattered by a sudden, deafeningly loud sound.
A system broadcast suddenly appears, congratulating all the survivors.
The broadcast begins the daily settlement, revealing over 1,000 survivors remain.
It reveals 7 items have been found, hinting at more in large buildings.
The school cafeteria is now open, offering meals at specific times each day. Hyungwoo is confused by the idea that meals must be purchased to survive. The system explains points are earned by leveling up and awarded each morning. The broadcast ends by activating the base's unique functions and insulting them. The system announces that the second Merciless day has now officially started.
A powerful, unseen force suddenly shoves them out of the lighthouse. They're thrown into confusion, completely unaware of what's happening.
Hyungwoo realizes the base's special functions are finally activating.
He takes charge, telling the others they need to head upstairs immediately. The party rushes up the winding stairs to see what has changed.
The lighthouse beacon erupts with a blinding light and a powerful hum.
They reach the top floor, wondering if the strange device will explode. Hyungwoo and Jae-oh listen intently to the strange, resonating sound. Jae-oh wonders if there's something hidden inside the strange device. A glowing blue screen suddenly activates, looking like a television.
Hyungwoo realizes the base's function is a powerful search engine.
His mind races as he realizes the incredible potential of this new device.
Jae-oh excitedly urges him to try searching for items on the screen.
Her finger presses the glowing icon to search for any available items. But a sudden thought makes him look down at their glowing cuffs.
A bead of sweat rolls down his face as a brilliant idea strikes him.
He quickly tells her to type in the one word that might save them: key.
He realizes his own mysterious blue key might be the answer. Jae-oh follows his instruction, confused by the strange request.
She finally connects the dots, realizing the key could be for their handcuffs. He explains his theory that the key is almost certainly for their cuffs.
Without hesitation, her finger presses the select button on the screen. The device activates, revealing a search menu for weapons and consumables. The device begins to whir and spin with a powerful energy. A blinding white light erupts from the center of the search device.
A massive beacon of light shoots from the lighthouse into the sky.
The search reveals two distinct locations glowing brightly in the distance.
Down below, Park Yu soon complains about the deafening sound from the beacon. Hyungwoo confirms he saw two possible locations for the key they need. Hyungwoo checks on his party as Park Yu soon complains about the ringing in his ears. The older man admits it will take a while for him to recover from the blast. Down below, the other party is completely disoriented by the sudden shockwave.
The rival leader stumbles back, demanding to know what just happened. The entire structure continues to vibrate from the beacon's activation.
He connects the dots, realizing the base's function has been triggered.
The rival leader's face twists with rage, cursing them for their actions.
But his partner suddenly grabs his sleeve, trying to hold him back.
She calls out his name, Cheng-hee, trying to calm his rising fury. She begs him not to go, suggesting they should just leave.
But Cheng-hee reassures her, saying this is their hideout and he'll return. The other owner tells him to go, promising to stay with Hyman. The other owner asks Hyungwoo to look after Hyman in his absence.
Cheng-hee announces his plan to drive Hyungwoo's party out of the lighthouse.
A dark aura erupts around him as he vows to win for Hyman's sake. Hyungwoo notes the device is limited to only 2 uses before it resets. He suggests they use their last search to find some much-needed weapons.
The idea of finding weapons immediately grabs Park Yu-soon's attention.
He tells them to cover their eyes and ears for the next search. The device unleashes a second, deafening shockwave of light.
This time, the search reveals multiple locations glowing in the distance. Hyungwoo remembers the broadcast said about 1,000 survivors remain. He points out that only 10 weapons remain, which is nowhere near enough. But Park Yu soon dismisses the idea, saying the locations are too distant.
His eyes then fall on the character search function, a new idea forming.
Jae-oh explains it finds people, asking if he has someone in mind.
A grim smile crosses his face as he thinks of one dangerous name, Yun.
Hyungwoo utters the name of the monster they barely escaped from the school.
Park Yu soon asks about the name, and Hyungwoo explains he's a high-level player.
The older man presses for more information, asking what his exact level is. Hyungwoo reveals the shocking truth that Jung Chaesu is level 17.
Park Yu soon is completely stunned, calling their level absolutely insane. But Hyungwoo smirks, confidently assuming the monster is already dead. but Hyungwoo urges them to use the search before other survivors arrive.
Park Yu-soon is confused by his sudden sense of urgency. He demands to know why Hyungwoo thinks anyone else is coming. Chang-hee calls out his name, finally grasping the gravity of the situation. Another man from the rival group confirms they need to leave immediately.
He explains the beacon has drawn other survivors directly to their location.
Chang-hee's face pales as he finally understands the terrible implication. The full horror of the situation finally dawns on the rival leader. But it's too late as the sound of approaching players fills the air. Chang-hee and his ally stare down from the lighthouse balcony. They see multiple groups of players running towards the lighthouse from all directions. Chang-hee furiously confronts the other owner, blaming him for their fatal mistake.
A cold sweat breaks out as the full weight of his mistake hits him. The other owner immediately turns and flees, abandoning his party. But Chang-hee's fear quickly turns into a cold, dangerous resolve. He curses Hyungwoo's name, his face twisted with pure, unadulterated rage.
He ignores the other owner, sprinting down the stairs to find Hymin. His only thought is to reach her, abandoning all other strategy or reason.
A memory of Hymin surfaces, a desperate plea in his mind.
He remembers her stubborn side, his resolve to protect her solidifying. Her name is a desperate cry, fueled by the memory of her smile. He's driven by the memory of Hymin, sick and helpless in a hospital bed. He finally reaches the bottom floor, his mind focused only on finding her.
But his face drains of all color as he witnesses an unimaginable horror.
A new menacing player smirks, surprised that more people were hiding. He's holding Hymin by the throat, her feet dangling helplessly off the ground. She chokes out his name, her eyes pleading as she struggles to breathe. Chang-hee desperately pleads with the man, telling him to put Hymin down.
He tries to negotiate, promising to do anything if they can just talk.
The new player seems amused by the idea of a conversation with his hostage. The man tightens his grip, clearly enjoying the power he holds over them.
He reveals his own owner's bracelet, mocking Chang-hee's pathetic attempt to negotiate.
With a sudden, violent shove, he throws the choking woman towards Chang-hee. Chang-hee lets out a desperate, agonized scream as he lunges for her.
He rushes forward, trying desperately to catch her before she hits the ground. But he's too late as she slams hard onto the cold steel floor.
The new player callously remarks that she died from a simple touch. Chang-hee's expression twists into one of pure, unadulterated hatred. His eyes glow with fury as he swears he will kill the man responsible. Blinded by grief and fury, Chang-hee charges forward to avenge her death.
Unfazed, the killer taunts him, inviting the attack with a sinister smile.
The man's fist blurs forward, ready to intercept the desperate attack. Chang-hee's punch effelies forward, fueled by pure, unrestrained rage. But the killer stops the attack with a single, effortless fist.
A brutal counter-attack sends Chang-hee flying back in a spray of blood.
Chang-hee's fury explodes as he vows the man will pay for his actions. But the killer's cold eyes show no fear, only mild surprise. Another brutal kick slams into his chest with bone-shattering force. The force of the blow sends Chang-hee hurtling backward through the air. He struggles to his knees, his face twisted with rage and frustration. The killer cracks his knuckles, surrounded by his equally menacing party members. The killer's name is revealed as Kim Chang-hee, a powerful level 10 player.
But his companions are confused, wondering what's happening now.
The bald man smirks, asking why there are so many people here. The bald man places a hand on Kim Chang-hee, identifying his level.
He warns that fighting alone is just a foolish way to die.
He then proposes a temporary alliance against the approaching players. The bald man offers to help Chang-hee fight of the approaching players. But Chang-hee furiously rejects the offer, blaming Hyungwoo's party for the chaos. He declares he'll handle the newcomers himself, his eyes burning with vengeance. The bald man confirms his party has a total of 6 members. Hyungwoo realizes they must recruit Chang Hee to avoid a much larger fight.
He turns to Seo Inju, trying to convince him that Chang Hee isn't a bad person.
Seo Inju gives a rare smile, agreeing to the temporary alliance. Down below, Chang Hee unleashes his fury, charging into the fray.
He trades blows with the bald man in a flurry of brutal punches.
But the bald man effortlessly blocks the furious punch with his crossed arms.
A confident smirk spreads across his face as he easily holds back the blow.
Chang Hee screams in pure rage, demanding that the man just die already. The bald man pivots, using Chang Hee's momentum against him. He effortlessly lifts the enraged man into a powerful body slam. Chang Hee's body crashes hard into the steel floor with a sickening thud. The bald man smirks down at him, asking if his pathetic tantrum is over.
But a fist intercepts the final blow as Seo Inju tells him to die.
The bald man's eyes widen in shock, unable to believe his attack was stopped. Seo Inju's foot slams into his stomach with unexpected and brutal force.
He recognizes the man as Park Moon-ji, another impossibly high level 11 player.
Seo Inju warns his party to stay back, claiming this opponent is his alone.
He tells Seo Inju to handle Park Moon-ji while he deals with the stragglers. But Kim Chang-hee mocks him, asking if he can really handle 6 people alone. He clarifies he'll just take care of the ones in the way for now.
Park Eui soon agrees to cooperate, a dangerous glint in his eyes.
Kim Chang-hee can only curse in frustration, completely overpowered on the floor.
Park Moon-ji furiously shouts at his 2 stunned party members for not helping.
His men question his order, accusing him of wanting to level up alone.
Park Moon-ji explodes in rage, ordering them to beat their enemies down.
He screams at them to move faster as they finally join the battle.
Park Moon-ji's men coordinate their attack, targeting Seo Inju first. He orders his ally to only weaken him, saving the final blow for himself.
With a crack of his knuckles, Park Moon-ji prepares to steal the kill. He explains that in this game, strength is all that matters to win. His party members finally charge up the stairs, ready to tear them apart.
The attacker leads the charge, identifying Hyungwoo as the priority target.
But Park Eui soon intercepts the charge with a brutal punch to the jaw. He stands over the unconscious man, his level 11 status a clear warning.
He grins menacingly, demanding to know the levels of the other 2 attackers. The second attacker rushes up the stairs, brandishing a small knife. He lunges forward with a furious scream, aiming to kill the older man. But Park Eui soon effortlessly catches his wrist, stopping the attack hold. The level 5 attacker, Sun Seong-won, gasps for aid. Park Eui soon's grip.
A cruel smile spreads across his face as he effortlessly overpowers his opponent, but he uses his last breath to signal the ambush, ordering them to attack the owner.
Park Eui soon screams out Hyungwoo's name in a desperate, furious warning.
The remaining 2 attackers rush past him, targeting Hyungwoo and JOR directly. They charge with murderous intent, determined to eliminate the owner at any cost. But a blur of motion intercepts the attack with a devastating punch.
The second attacker stares in shock as his ally is instantly knocked out. The punch came from a bandaged fist, belonging to a furious Chang Hee. The last attacker, a level 6 named Seong Dongwon, faces Hyungwoo and JOR. His eyes burn with resolve as he declares he's no longer just a burden. He recalls his solemn wish that only those who truly deserve it should die. Chang Hee interrupts the fight with a suggestion, leaving Hyungwoo completely baffled.
He explains that in this merciless game, most players only try to kill each other, but he notes that Seo Inju chose to negotiate first, instead of fighting them. He reminds Hyungwoo that Park Eui soon also tried to negotiate. He admits his next words might sound a little arrogant.
His core belief is that mindless killers simply don't deserve to survive.
He finds the idea of only killing the bad guys an interesting proposition. He then turns his attention to Hyungwoo and JOR, continuing his thought.
He points out that the handcuffs are the only reason he's being protected. He admits being constantly protected is a burden he'd rather not have.
Hyungwoo agrees, knowing he needs more than just willpower to protect himself.
Park Yu soon takes charge, telling them to grab supplies and get out. But as he searches, Hyungwoo's eyes widen at an unexpected discovery.
He finds a drawer filled with condoms and other personal care items.
He quickly fashions a makeshift flail, ready to join the fight. The attackers are caught completely off guard by the strange new weapon. The makeshift flail connects with a sickening crack against the first man's face. Without losing momentum, it whips around to strike the second attacker.
With Hyungwoo proving his worth, Park Eui soon can focus on his own fight. His expression hardens as he turns his attention back to his captive.
A sickening crunch echoes as he stomps down, disabling the attacker.
He then executes a perfect throw, slamming the man onto the steel floor.
The attacker curses in disbelief, stunned by the older man's hidden power. His eyes roll back into his head as he finally succumbs to the pain.
The final attacker is slammed face first into the ground with overwhelming force.
The man's eyes roll back, his face a mask of unconscious agony.
He calmly observes his bloody fist, noting that one threat has been neutralized.
Seo Inju turns his full attention to the much stronger Park Moonji.
A lightning-fast punch slams directly into Park Moonji's solar plexus.
Park Moonji stumbles back, shocked by the force of the unexpected attack. Park Moonji's fist tightens, his muscles coiling in a furious response.
He swings back with a powerful hook, aiming to end the fight quickly. But Seo Inju easily dodges the blow, the punch whistling past his ear.
He parries the wild punch, enraging Park Moonji even further.
Park Moonji curses his own power, realizing his opponent is far more skilled.
But Seo Inju stands firm, sweat dripping as he prepares for the next exchange.
His ally shouts that their levels are too high, but Park Moonji is unimpressed.
His eyes suddenly turn white as he enters a focused, battle-ready state. A cruel and confident smile spreads across his face as he relishes the fight. He calls his subordinate Byung-ho over, a sinister new idea forming in his mind. But in a shocking move, he suddenly grabs his own ally by the throat. He grins cruelly, wondering why he didn't think of sacrificing his own men sooner. Park Moonji coldly explains that killing everyone is the fastest way to level up. Seo Inju calls him insane for being willing to sacrifice his own ally. A sinister laugh escapes him as his subordinate's body hits the floor. Park Moonji's level skyrockets to 13 as he asks if they're ready to fight. Hyungwoo prepares his strange weapon, ready to face the remaining attackers. The man tells his ally a coordinated attack will surely overwhelm their opponent. But before he can give the signal, Park Yu-soon's fist connects with his jaw. Stunned by the blow, he furiously curses the old man for the attack. He swings wildly at Park Yu-soon, who calmly watches the attack approach. He scoffs at the man's cowardly tactics, completely unimpressed by the attack. The man retorts that he should grab a weapon too instead of complaining. But his taunt is cut short as the condom flail smashes into his face. Hyungwoo calls out in concern, asking if the older man is all right. The older man brushes off the concern with a confident smile.
Meanwhile, the taunting attacker clutches his face, cursing in agony.
He stares in disbelief, completely stunned by the bizarre weapon. Hyungwoo brings the flail down with brutal, finishing force. The man collapses to the floor, his body limp and unmoving. Hyungwoo's resolve hardens as he proves he's more than just a burden.
Park Yu soon declares their work is done, turning to help Seo Inju.
But elsewhere, Park Moonji's fist tightens with newfound murderous power. Seo Inju retaliates with a brutal kick, slamming his foot into Park Moonji's side. He furiously asks if Seo Inju will do nothing but run from the fight. But Seo Inju closes the distance, locking him in a powerful chokehold from behind. Park Moonji digs his feet in, roaring that the chokehold is useless against his power. He smirks,
his newfound strength easily overpowering Seo Inju's submission attempt.
Seo Inju strains, sweat pouring down his face as he struggles against the raw power. With a surge of raw power, Park Moonji throws Seo Inju off his back.
He spins around, slamming a devastating elbow directly into Seo Inju's jaw.
Breathing heavily, he glares down at them, calling them pathetic rat bastards.
The party rushes to his side, asking if he's alright after the brutal blow.
Seo Inju explains the bastard killed his own teammate to level up instantly.
He warns that Park Moonji's power is now too great and they'll lose this fight. Jae-woo whispers to Hyungwoo that their only option now is to run away.
Park Moonji slowly approaches, noticing that his prey is all gathered together.
With a crazed laugh, he tells them to stop whispering and just die for him. But just as despair sets in, Hyungwoo's eyes gleam with sudden clarity.
He interrupts their panic, declaring that no one is invincible in this game. With a chilling grin, he announces he's found a way to kill Park Moonji. He urgently shouts for everyone to hurry to the top floor immediately.
But Park Moonji mocks their attempt to flee, blocking their path.
Shang-hee is completely baffled, questioning Hyungwoo's sudden and strange command.
The group follows his lead, demanding to know what his desperate plan is.
Jae-woo looks at him with worried eyes, asking what he's planning to do. Hyungwoo reveals his insane plan to make Park Moonji fall from the top.
Park Moonji screams at them to stop, furious at their attempt to escape.
Hyungwoo sprints up the winding stairs with Park Moonji in hot pursuit. He gasps for breath, cursing how annoyingly fast they are running away. Park Moonji shouts up the stairs, wondering how far they've gotten. A heavy steel hatch is suddenly forced open from below. He pulls himself through the opening, his annoyance growing with every step.
His frustration boils over as he finds the room completely empty. He screams in rage, demanding to know where his prey has disappeared.
His gaze snaps upward, realizing they've climbed even higher. They've reached the very top, standing beside the massive lighthouse beacon.
Hyungwoo's plan centers around the base's powerful search function. But Park Moonji finally catches up, stepping out onto the balcony.
He scoffs in annoyance, frustrated that they're still running from him. Below, the waves crash violently against the base of the lighthouse. He curses them out loud, demanding to know where they've hidden themselves. Park Moonji's patience finally snaps as he glares down at them.
But a sudden blur of motion catches his attention from the side.
A steel bar slams into his chest with a sickening, brutal impact. Park Moonji's face twists with rage as he glares at his attacker.
But Hyungwoo swings his makeshift weapon with a desperate, furious shout. The counter-attack is instant, a brutal punch sending Hyungwoo flying back.
He crashes backward, dragging the terrified Jae-woo along with him. Park Moonji rages that such low-level trash would dare to fight back. But Hyungwoo's foot catches the railing, stopping them from falling over the edge.
But Seo Inju suddenly intervenes, slamming a powerful kick into his leg.
Park Moonji's face twists in agony and rage from the unexpected blow.
He screams that the attack is useless, countering with a devastating punch.
Park Yu soon uses the opening to launch a surprise aerial kick. His foot connects with a brutal, stunning impact against Park Moonji's jaw. The powerful blow sends Park Moonji reeling, his eyes rolling back in shock.
Park Moonji grunts in pain, the kick rattling him to his core.
Shang-hee seizes the opening, delivering a furious punch to his face. The combined assault finally sends him toppling over the balcony's edge. Seo Inju gasps for air, the intense battle taking its toll. Park Yu soon slumps to the ground, equally drained from the fight. But Park Moonji laughs, mocking their futile efforts to defeat him.
He tells them to stop their pointless resistance and just die quietly. Hyungwoo can't believe their combined attack had absolutely no effect on him.
He effortlessly pulls himself back over the railing, completely unfazed.
But a bead of sweat rolls down Hyungwoo's face as he notices a key detail.
The seemingly invincible man is now limping, his leg clearly injured.
He taunts them, asking why they cling to life so desperately.
Hyungwoo's flail connects, but Park Moon-ji just spits blood and taunts them. His allies can only stare, shocked by the man's unbelievable toughness.
But Hyungwoo sees through the bluff, telling Jae-ro he's hiding his pain.
He shouts that Park Moon-ji is taking damage and they can win. Park Moon-ji's rage focuses entirely on the boy who exposed his weakness. He vows to kill Hyungwoo first, lunging forward with a murderous punch. Chang-hee's fist connects, driving the man back with a powerful blow. Inju immediately follows, refusing to give him a moment to recover. His foot slams into the injured leg, targeting the man's only weakness. A sickening crack echoes as the bone in his leg finally shatters. Park Moon-ji lets out a scream of pure, unadulterated agony. With a furious roar, Chang-hee grabs the injured man from behind. His hand flails wildly, desperately trying to grab onto the railing. Chang-hee's grip tightens around his throat, cutting off his desperate scream. He pushes with all his might, determined to send Park Moon-ji over the edge. He mocks their efforts, declaring that in this world, level is absolute power.